Morning YouTube. Week 5 garden tour. So yesterday called for thunderstorms. I had something to do for like a half a day. So we had a little bit of thunder, some rain. I mean, it come down pretty good for 5-10 minutes, and it kind of just went away. So I got home, obviously checked the garden, rabbits, all that business, and then the second wave came in and we got hail to beat the band. Like, unbelievable. I had to go check my truck to make sure it wasn't damaged. But so the garden was well watered. I didn't have to do that finally. That's the first really good rain we got. And then I think last night, I'm not sure if it rained all night, but when I got up this morning, it was still raining off and on. So what I did down here in the main plot, I was come prune all my tomato plants. Now, I've heard pros and cons to doing it. I know a couple people that do, and they always do it. Some people that have tried it and now opt not to. I've never really done it, but all the lower branches coming off the plant that might be touching the ground, they get the dirt splashed up on them and stuff like that. I decided to go ahead and prune them off, so I'll have just a stalk up until they make the trellis. So from the ground to the trellis, which is only a foot on the Hortonova trellis, a foot and a half maybe on one of them. And then I got the one row of the cattle panel that's sitting right on the ground, so they're already up into that thing. They've been, obviously, it's on the ground, but so I pruned everything. I opted to leave all the cuttings from that in between the rows, because when all's said and done, I'll end up just tilling that in, adding some organic matter back into the soil, right? So let's take a look around the main plot, then we'll hit the corn plot, and then the greenhouse. So, onions, they just keep growing and growing. Obviously it's just vegetation. But the more veg we can get, the more bigger the onions, hopefully. So they look good. Right beside the trellis, I had a couple pole beans, or actually 3 or 4 that kind of just weren't doing it. So I direct sowed some more last week, and they're up. Let's see the ones with the new seed leaves still on them. That's one. See the seed leaves still there. So that one came up. That's another one right there. One on the other side of the trellis right there. So 3 just right there. That guy's been there. Another new one. There's another new one coming up right there as well. So I lost one there. This one probably not going to make it either. So this is also a new one right next to it. See the seed leaves still there. Another one there, and I believe that's a weed. Get rid of that dude. And this one has been the biggest. It's got some bug damage, looks like, some holes in it. Same again on the other side. So I think I put a seed in between every plant last week. So this one on the end wasn't looking too good. I mean, it's still alive and it's okay, but so a new one came up next to it. Another new one here. This one has been doing really well. So another new one next to it. That one's been there, looks fine. That one's been there and looks fine. Another new one came up. And then this one again, bigger than all the rest. Just like the other one in the adjacent same corner. But it's got some holes in it. Now I don't know if that might be from the hail too, actually. Not sure. But another piece of trash found out back. That's actually a weed in it right now, multiple weeds, but it's a little decoration. So I'll bury that in a little bit, maybe paint it, we'll see. Plant some flowers or something in that. So flowers in the tires. Again, I'm not a flower guy really, but nasturtiums, they look pretty good. A couple marigolds still look good. Can't remember what this was, but it might be, I'm not sure actually, but it looks eaten on. Zinnia, those two bottom leaves look terrible, but the tops look good. So more onions there. The okra and that one random pepper. I think that's a jalapeno, I think. Okay. And some more onions there. And the two more okra plants, they all look good. Again, some of the leaves, I want to say it's from the hail, because I see the same on my squash plants. Just like broken. Same over here, just it's not really eaten, but just broken through. Kind of sucks, but is what it is. Potatoes are still just growing like crazy. Well, at least above the ground. And the more flowers, marigolds, zinnias, nasturtium. Oh yeah, the other one, actually I think it was a random lettuce in that flower tire. And there's another one right there. That's a zinnia, marigold, nasturtium. Taters. More flowers. They all look good. More taters. So now in between the tires here, just threw some wildflower seed mix, just all up in there. I thought I seen some yesterday starting to germinate. I mean, there's still weeds in there, but I don't want to pull the weeds. Last week I cultivated everything, the whole entire garden, both plots, even in the greenhouse, totally weeded everything, cultivated. But it just comes back, especially after rain. But so now I don't really want to pull these weeds until I see the plants coming up. So hopefully they can keep up with the weeds as far as growth. But another tire. Flowers. Again, some more wild seed flower mix in between. Some more flowers. I actually got a bulb on this marigold. So 3 marigolds, couple zinnias. Again, in between, more wildflower mix. Taters just growing out of control. More flowers and another bulb on this marigold. Zinnia and nasturtium. Some more taters. I gotta pull some of them weeds in the back of the tire there. More flowers, couple nasturtiums, couple zinnias. More taters. So beans, had a couple more plants kind of bite the dust here, if you've been following along. So this one just totally yellow like it's been, but it made the trellis. It's totally green at the top. It's latched on, looks good. That one was shaky at first, but it's really green. Tons of blooms now. Some starting to come, some already out. So tons of those. That plant looks really good. So does the next one, and it's getting up there, and it's got blooms. The next one's even taller. Blooms on it. Next one, multiple blooms. They're kind of pretty, actually. Yeah, and so this one, it was just like the other one, yellow, and then it turned green. You can see it's still green there at the top. Had a bloom on it. A couple blooms actually. Huh. There is 3 little peas on there. So yeah, I'm not sure what's up with that dude, or if it's gonna make it, but That's pretty neat. I didn't see that yesterday. But again, there's more peas, tons more. They're starting to really bloom out. Another one, thought it was pretty much dead, and it looks like it. There's just a little bit of green at the top, but a couple blooms there, so a little weird. But so on the next plant, tall, these all look okay. Some more blooms. So that's pretty much the peas, and those are really green and nice on the end there now. Some more taters. These tires were both wildflower mix. Taters, obviously, more taters. And then again, so we're back in the front. In between all here is that wildflower mix. Both of these tires, in betweens, etc. So, walk back around. Got the peppers. They were droopy for a couple days. Probably transplant shock, but they look awesome now. So I do a little weeding every day when I water, just a little bit here and there, after I did everything last week. Today I fertilized everything as well, so hopefully over this week they'll really pop again. But everything looks really good, with the exception of one thing that we'll get to. But let's check these peppers out. So yeah, they look awesome. These are all bell peppers. Some of them got some buds forming. The one jalapeno, and the last three are poblanos. Those got some buds forming in there, some on top. So yeah, they look good. So next row is the patty pan squash. They still look good. Again, I want to say it was the hail. Just like the leaves not missing and eating. It's like a hole right through it. A couple of the leaves. But they're perking up. They've grown quite a bit. They look pretty good. Small holes in these leaves. Or like breakage, not eaten really. So I direct sowed the 3 buttercup squash, I believe it is. So there's the 3 of those that are new. I think I planted them after I made last week's video. So here's the problem. This whole row is pretty much winter squashes. And I noticed just 2 days ago I have cucumber beetles, and they are just working these things over. Like, look at that, it's terrible. I guess they're pretty hard to get rid of. And there's some things you can try, but I guess when they like in the nymph stage, there's sprays you could put on them, even organic sprays, which I would definitely use, you know, neem oil, stuff like that. That helps in that stage, but once they become adults, apparently there's like nothing you can do for them. So that's pretty terrible. And hopefully by fertilizing, and bugs have life cycles as well, so hopefully put the two together, the bug's life cycle, like these asshole beetles, will just die. But hopefully fertilizing these plants and giving them that boost to, you know, grow out of what's going on is my hope, I guess. So we'll see. So next 3 rows are the tomatoes. Let's get one random zinnia there at the end of that row. But so like I said, I've pruned all these tomatoes. They all look phenomenal. And again, I just left the debris in between the rows. So when everything's said and done, I'll just till that in. But the tomatoes look great. Nice and green. I do have some blooms on some of them. But They look good. Even the stalk's pretty thick. But yeah, they all look really, really good. This one's a monster right here on the other side. And that's the one that's got the, I think it's got like 3 flowers already. Well, there's a whole cluster there actually. 2, 4, like 7. 4 of them are open. Nice to see. But yeah, it's like every plant just looks awesome. Pretty happy. Hopefully they'll keep doing that. There's the cattle panel row with the stakes. And you get the 2 Hortonova trellises. Again, plants just look awesome. They're growing really well. So I know there's more, I've seen more blooms somewhere. But anyways, it's the tomatoes. I believe these ones are all yellow pear. This whole row too. Some of this is the highest trellis off the ground, and you can see they're just about there. But again, pruned everything. It's pretty thick stalk there. Yeah. Nice. Get some blooms starting to come on in there. So next row, that double half row of carrots and double half row of turnips. All this is growing really well too. Carrot tops getting bigger. Double all the way down to the turnips. These are growing really good. Again, just double all the way down, but they look great. So the only issues I found is winter squash with those beetles. Everything else looks good. Whole row of kale. That's looking really nice. Nice and green, really green. Looks like maybe a little broken leaf again, probably from that hail. Yeah, those still look good. This whole row. Get the lettuce. Now, I've been eating off the lettuce in the greenhouse. Same varieties out here. They're absolutely delicious. I'm gonna have to start harvesting off these, at least the bottoms again, just to keep that stuff out of the dirt. Get that splash back. You can see it down there. Still good eats, but yeah, cut all that back away from the ground. Wash it off, have a nice fresh salad. So all the lettuce is doing really well, both out here and in the greenhouse. And I've harvested out of the greenhouse quite a few times. So we got some collards. They look awesome. Just really green and lush looking, just nice. Growing well. I got, well, they stopped there, and then we have the 2 cauliflowers. Same thing. They look great. And then those 3 remaining kale that were left over. All right, so let's head up check the corn plot. Now, we won't go inside today. I have one tray in there that has just a handful of herbs and some more flowers. I'm going to let them grow out a little bit more before I put them down here, but that's really all there is to see in there, so not a big deal. The other tray that I had in there, I had more tomato starts, a couple leftover watermelons, so we'll get to that in a bit. But let's check out the corn plot. So still ain't got the fencing up. Started to do it. It goes from here to that corner. That was a wrap on that. But again, this whole plot was cultivated, weeded last week, and the weeds are definitely coming back in here, so I'll have to rake it out again. But so last week, after I did last week's video, I ended up transplanting the watermelons. So that's a baby doll, which is a yellow one. All these bush beans, one still looks raggedy, maybe a couple, but all new green leaves, crazy. But they've been having a tough time since I put them out here. It might have been too early, but we didn't get any frost or anything, so I'm not sure really what's going on. But they look like they're bouncing back. But anyways, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those baby doll yellow watermelons right here. And then I got 5 of the moon and star watermelons here. And on this side was the onions. So they're popping up a lot better on this side. Well, they've been up, but they're growing all the way down. Corn. Again, after I shot last week's video, I ended up side dressing the corn with Chilean nitrate, which is organic, and then I hilled it, so pulled dirt to suppress the weeds in between the plants, and it covers up that fertilizer. But some of these look awesome. However, I got one there, that's a loss, maybe 2, that one was iffy, 2 more over there bit the dust, and 1 more over there. So 4 more, maybe 5 more corns, but the rest of them look awesome, actually. Like, nice and green, stalks look good. Got one all by itself in the corner because I had them other ones that died. It was in the video last week, but that one's huge. Yeah, so just might get some corn. But pretty stoked about the watermelons too. We'll see what happens. I think they take quite a while to grow out, but so again, fertilized everything. What I also did was plant like 20 more bush beans. So I went the Blue Lake variety this time. So what I did is behind this row, like back here where the fence is gonna be, as soon as I get around to doing that, is I planted a direct sowed a seed in between every one of these plants that are here, and then in this row where they're already here, wherever I had one that died, I put a seed there too. So 20, actually I think it was 21 Blue Lake bush beans are direct sowed here now too. And I think so yeah, that's only gonna be a few days, they should be up. But and so my thought there, like I started in seed trays in the house, transplanted out here that first batch. I think being direct sowed, the plants might do a little better just because they're born essentially in that soil, right? So they don't have to get used to it. There's no shock or any of that. It's definitely warm now and all that good stuff. But that was the corn plot. So let's check the greenhouse and in this video. So peas. So I put up those lines last week. I had them tied up. They were below it. Now they're above it. tons of blooms. Like these are just doing really good. They have for weeks now. And where are you, little fella? First bean. Oh yeah, pea, sorry. First pea pod. That's exciting. And with all the blooms we should be getting more. I had them 3 I showed you in the main plot, but that plant looks like it's gonna die, but we'll see what happens. Those 3 tiny ones, but that's the first big one anyways. So again with the tomatoes, you get those 4 right here that I didn't think we're gonna make it. They're absolutely stunning. Like the color on them is just amazing. So again, everything got pruned. There was the 6 extras I couldn't fit down in the main garden. Same again, they just look gorgeous. Once they get a little bigger and start get, well, maybe by next week I'll have to tie them up to those lines as well. Broccoli, absolutely out of control. Again, I don't know if this is ever going to make a broccoli head or not, because it's really hot in here sometimes, but the plants look just amazing, absolutely amazing. And then the lettuce, this stuff is just unreal too. It just grows so good. And like I said, I've been harvesting off of it. You can see where I've cut some off the bottoms of all these. Get them out of the dirt. Yeah, just absolutely delicious. Pretty prolific. They're growing really good. Pretty happy with that. So I got a couple more leaves I gotta get out of the way over here, but I tried. You can see all those that I've picked. And I get rid of these couple. So this bok choy, see what happens with it. That thing came right back to life, as well as the one there in the back. So picked a bunch off the bottom of that lettuce. Give that thing some room. See what happens. So then tomatoes that were in that tray in the house, I just potted them all up along with those 2 watermelons. So I got the 2 baby doll watermelons. Some Mountain Glory tomatoes. So there's the first batch I did, just two of each, 2 watermelons, 2 black zebra cherry tomatoes, 2 Mountain Glories. So then that whole back row is all Mountain Glory tomatoes, and the whole front row is all the black zebra cherry tomatoes. So I'm gonna grow them out here in the greenhouse. I'll let them get bigger, and my thought on that was to put up like a little stand. You know, you see people have farm fresh eggs and stuff like that. And when I start, the garden starts producing a lot more, certainly the tomatoes and stuff like that. And I have extra, like too much to where I'm not able to can it or preserve it or whatever and eat fresh. So the abundance, I'm thinking, put out with a donation bucket, but in theory, free food for potentially the neighbors to just, you know, if you want to donate to the cause, cool. If not, just grab yourself some food. And I'm going to do the same with those plants, I think. I'll just put a couple out at a time or a handful at a time or something. And if someone's interested, they can just take them home and plant it. And hopefully get some free food for themselves too. So that's the thought process anyway. We'll see. But that'll do it for week 5. Things looking good. Again, the only issue really is those beetles. So hopefully they piss off and leave my stuff alone. But I'm probably going to get some neem oil and just try it. But like I said, I heard once those beetles are adults, that's almost nothing you can do for them. So give that a shot anyways. But yeah, other than that, things are growing really good, looking really good, and can't wait till next week to see the difference then. So thank you guys for tuning in, hanging out, doing a little walks with me, those of you that do watch. If you're new, I do this every week. If nothing, again, for myself to look back. I'm not a professional gardener or any of that. In fact, I'm brand new to it, still wet behind the ears, but I think I'm doing pretty good. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate your time. Catch you next week. God bless.